Oh no, is it gonna go live? Is it gonna go live? I think it may have gotten live. There we go. Wow. Yeah, let's minimize these two things. Got chat here. Okay. Yeah, this is my cramped little workspace. I'm sure other people have like a dedicated screen for showing chat, but I don't have the luxury, unfortunately. Yeah, I guess I'll just show off what I'm working on. It's not an interesting file to look at. Open. Ah, yes. Just basically copied over the ENV beam code and made it a little bit more specific to the lightning gun. Let's build DMC and let's run it. Or rather, let's see. And yeah, let's go. I talked about this on itTechSpace. This is the infamous map by Dario, which has a texture bug, which is no longer there. Well, it is if you're using a bugged version of FTE like I am, but if you vid reload now, that thing will show up. Whereas in the Steam version, it's still broken. Because they haven't recompiled the map since release, I'm guessing. Yeah. Battery icon. I know now why they probably disabled those notification icons in DMC. Because they didn't really have appropriate icons made for any of this. Ooh. But yeah. What could I show off? Well, how nice it is to develop in this, I guess. I can just maximize things to however I want to. Oops. Just on the fly. As you can see, the HUD scales too, which is very nice. And I can debug in real time. There we go. Yeah, show the lights, don't show the pickups. There we go. Yeah, that sometimes helps me just figure out what's going on. Like, oh yeah, let's go on the client side. Was it actually doing there? Ah, the alpha is 1, the scale is 1, blah blah blah. If something was messed up, I could just easily see on client game versus server game what like the appropriate attributes are. This here is server, this here is client. Just the 1 and 2 makes a difference. Yeah. Those teleporters still make a sound. I guess I'll have to check where they'll make the sound, if it's made in the entity or not. So for that I will just yeah, go into the extracted files, which of this version does not have that map from Dario. This one seems to do though. Zip to back to 1. There we go. And now I have PCDM5 BSP. Strings txt. Let's see. Here's a string data in there. Let's go for trigger. No seemingly interesting fields. So I will have to hard code that teleporter sound. Let's see. Trigger teleport. I can just do something really evil and ugly, and it'll work, but yeah, whatever. Let's do virtual void. So this method is called once all the entity data from the map has been read. We just do this, it'll function as it's supposed to. But now we can do if cvar string fs game dmc. This is kind of ugly, but it'll do. I'm gonna just set the noise to do. Guess what noise does it make? Tele one. Yeah. Actually, I can just use the inspector for this. Yep, those are all used. These are just the quick ones. Alright. Then let's define a sound shader for the thing, I guess. Touch. Let's call it DMC tele. SHD. Hey, Zempron. How's it going? Sample. Let's go back to the sound samples. Thanks to the sound script system, I have a new client. I can just do this. Bam. Could even make it alert so that bots and AI are alerted to that position of whoever's teleported, but let's not do that yet. Actually, I have a better idea. Sound. Yeah, it's Slackware. It's Slackware 15, but yeah, running GNU Step and Window Maker, all custom versions that I did. This is not your average G workspace application. It has lots of little differences, but yeah, it's basically a carbon copy of Next Step because it's all I want to use for the rest of my life. Just making it so that the teleporter will actually play like a sound. Defined. Do that. Just precaches the sound def here. And if that's that, I guess we'll just do sound play, e-toucher. Hey, Scrapeg. I haven't done this streaming stuff before, really, so excuse me if I'm a bit boomer about this. I hope you can hear me fine. Yeah. I haven't. You're good, thank you. Today is a good day. Having a good time. Sunshine, let's just do it on voice, I guess. Can you out and clear? Perfect. I'm just really clumsy with technology sometimes. I know as a programmer that might be like, what the hell is he talking about? Yeah, let's check out the teleportation noise if me forcing it worked. Yeah. Hope this game sound isn't too quiet or too loud. There we go. How the teleporter sounds play. Perfect. Like, I just took the RPG trail from FreeHL, But I really like it on the grenade launcher, even though it's not accurate, just because it's so smooth looking. It reminds me of CPMA on the Quake 3. It's just... yeah. Ooh. Good reload. Yeah. It's not opens that over there. You gotta fix that engine bug of it not pre-caching the texture. So that's fixed. Now I can just go into, yeah, GS Endbase, I guess. Bit of a question, how far along is the VR support in FT Quake 12? Okay, so the situation with that is I got an Oculus Quest 2, and I used to have access to a computer that could like do virtual desktop, but like the wireless streaming and stuff. I don't have that anymore. I tried setting up the Steam Deck to work with it. There's some like ALSR or ALVR or something. And we wanted to hook that up to our Steam Deck so we could stream that and then do development on it. But we haven't been able to figure that out in time. But like, yeah, I really want to continue the VR stuff. It's probably regressed a little bit, but I would really love to work on that again, because walking around the levels that we made like a decade or so ago is awesome. It's just like incredible. You realize how the scale is just completely wrong and everything, and just like, oh man, I would love to go back and fix all this, but yeah. I need a proper desktop. I'm like streaming this on a tiny ThinkCentre right now. So which is also why the videos all kind of suck, because I'm editing this on like integrated graphics. It's all spawn inconvenient positions, but that's fine. There we go. Also, you back just the GPU and the computer in general. Oh yeah. Mainly GPU. We had one in a spare computer over here, but that died while playing one of the Yakuza games. I don't know which one because I wasn't playing that computer, but let's just say something was very taxing and killed that mid-range AMD GPU from like 2015 or whatever that's in there. Yeah, no, it is a tiny little slab. It's a tiny little next slab. It's the... oh god. Do I even want to look this up? I'll use an appropriate web browser. I won't use that modern Firefox nonsense. ThinkCentre M75Q. There we go. Let's see if that loads. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh my god. Barely loads this website. That's funny. Maybe Amazon will load better. No. Not really. Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's the computer I'm using right now. It's tiny. It's really small. If you're wondering why I'm using stuff like this on a huge desktop, I used to fly around the world quite a bit, and I once shipped a desktop taking apart in parts to Canada and stuff, and it didn't end very well. The whole thing lasted a month, and then it just died. Probably some speck of particle somewhere that got dislodged and caused a short or something, I don't know. But I like more portable things these days. I have a spare GPU somewhere around here, might be able to send it to you. That would be really, really nice. Really appreciate it. Now we burn through a lot of hardware and we don't have everything on hand, generally. And when I'm talking about we, it's me and Cylemon mostly, who helps me with like levels and stuff. We're roommates. Here's a test map I made with all the items. Ooh, quad damage. And visibility, ooh. Yeah, just uses the render mode stuff that I did for A3HL, obviously. Here's the, let me do seal show off. Let's go to DMC DM4, because that one's way cooler. Yeah. Hardcore. I only use a 10-ish years old hardware, be it my desktop custom on my laptop. All ThinkPad running Linux. Yeah, same thing. Always been that way for me, more or less. I still have like my old T61 from like 2007, and man, that thing went through like hell. But it still works. The fan's just like spinning like crazy and doing awful noises, but it still boots, and it'll still do Hackintosh. Which, last time I used it regularly was actually as a Snow Leopard Hackintosh machine, which I wanted to use to, like, make FTE binaries and stuff, but, yeah, no dice anymore. That's all too far removed from what Apple's doing to be useful. And yeah, is it DM3? DM3 has water. We'll just have to run over here. Now you can show off how you can give yourself, I guess. There you go. Yeah, I got the Ken Birdwell model. Woo! The only games I play are Doom and a couple of others, so it's good enough for me. And for deving, quite sufficient too. Yeah. We got so many damn video games. And I've got like a backlog of them. It's so hard to even commit to play anything new. But like, yeah, most of the time I just spend running around the classics, especially levels. There's always something new to see. Even old stuff. Like, we discover new things all the time, doing research for like these games and mods and stuff. And recently we've been obviously writing for fragnet.com, which is our little website and multiplayer service for FTE. Let me see, does the chat room still work with the latest engine? Oh yeah. There you go. Let me just join lobby or something. There you go. Guest joined. Lobby. Ah. All still works. But that's our little online service site. It's like GameSpy, but alive. And like One, but alive. Okay, what else can I show? There's probably a bunch of stuff that I haven't shown off yet. So much happens. Well, those are the mods that I've got currently loaded up. Some of the stuff works, some doesn't. Here's, oh my god, the render scale's all wrong. Here's the specialists, which is something that Blue, a friend of mine, has been working on. Let's go into Bikini, because that is the coolest map. I don't know if this builds at all. Okay, it still does. We have a VGUI that's kind of broken. Alright, buy SMG mini, you would see Kimbo that. And use new config. Will I actually spawn? No. Unable to spawn. Okay. That's a regression that needs to fix. SquarePeg, if I send you a GPU, would you be willing to make a CSQC guide for dummies, similar to ZScript for dummies that the cheesy Doom community has? There actually is a CSQC for dummies guide that Spike wrote, but that's like from 2007 or 2008. So some stuff may no longer apply. But, I mean, if there's a demand for anything, I'll happily do it. It's just that, as me being me, I don't know what it is that everyone else needs. You know, it's just like if you're wondering, what does Yukara need? You know, what is this desires? It's probably coffee and pizza most of the time, but it's nothing like physical that I will hang on to for long periods amount of time. Should really go to specialists. But yeah, sure. If you have any questions, any sort of like hurdle, like, oh, I really don't know what it is with the built-ins, or what is this extension, or how do you get started, period. I can try to answer these questions and make it understandable, I think. It's just really hard because no one else ever talks to me but enthusiasts. Like, I'm surrounded by people who like speak my language, and so it's just like other people coming in and being like, what are you talking about? And so yeah, just name what you want and I'll try to answer it. Or I write a guide. I did actually write a little bit of a document recently for somebody on Fediverse. Scientist hunt. Where's the other scientists? Here's one. Does have the double barrel. This map also has a bug still, which I have no idea what the issue is, but one thing that is really cool, that again we can do with material overrides. Oh yeah. And that's a problem with Quake C now, is it's so goddamn old, and it's changed so much, and people don't know where to start. The tutorials all apply to the really old version of the Quake progs, so you can't use it with the re-release that they put out. You can't use them with a lot of things. Let me show you the mirror. I just SV cheats my way through it, because navigating Endless Rain is a pain sometimes. But yeah, all I can say is working with Quake C isn't technically all that complicated. It's just, you know, getting into that mindset, as always. It's like with Python. I wouldn't know where to start with Python. All I know with Python is that, like, white space matters. And if you don't write consistently... Look, it's a real mirror. Syntax for Quake C. That's the thing, Quake C doesn't have a consistent syntax. Like, it's always changed. If you go from Quake C to Hexen C is a lot more like ANSI, you know, KNRC. It supports like function definitions and stuff that are more like this here. No, void and the name of the function and then the parameters. That's like Hexen C style almost. And you have to go using it. That's absolutely correct. You have to go in and be like, okay, I have a Quake source code. How do I make the rocket slower or faster? And then you just start digging into, you know, the details. Let me go into games, Quake, id1, source. You know, I always have a copy of the Quake 106 progs here in my user share games Quake folder, because FTE can do something pretty cool. So this is like a read-only location, right? Let me just switch this over to just run Quake. And if you play Quake in FTE, you have a console command. Not path, but that shows where the data is loaded from. User share games Quake. And if you just run the compile command, boom, it'll actually compile the source code inside of the source directory. Since it's in Quake World mode, it actually compiled the Quake World source, but whatever. That's fine. And so, in theory, you can just plop a copy of the Quake C procs code into your id1 folder, like so, and just keep running the compile command in-game while you make changes outside, and boom, you're just going and making modifications in real time, which is really cool. There's actually other things I can show too, which are really fun with Quake, I guess. Oh, FTE Quake rather. Let me find some... No target. Turn off the music. There you go. Yeah, the compiler is indeed built in, and we can do lots of other stuff. We can set breakpoints, or watch points rather. Like I can do watch point 1 dot origin x. Yeah, and now whenever my x coordinate changes, it'll report that into the console, which is fun. Probably. And I can now go into RShow fields 1. There's the soldier. He's entity 88. Poke SSQC 88 model index equals 3. Oh damn. What's he now? I don't know. He's something. 50? 45? No, I just made him completely invisible. Probably referencing some model that I shouldn't. Let me change it to, let's see, the player. Poke SSQC1 model. It's 59, okay. There you go. So you can just like mess with all the fields in real time, and that makes it really easy to debug anything. You can also tell them health equals 1000. Yeah, good luck trying to kill him now. Or I can just make him 1, and boom, he's dead. And yeah, if you use this setting right here in FTE Quake World, like any game, doesn't matter if it's Quake 2 or Quake 3 Arena, any game that FTE supports, if you use this hole punch setting, you don't even need to port forward. People can just do, like in this case, you can just do connect/Yukara anywhere in the world, and you'll connect to this server right here. You can try it if you want. Yeah, just connect/Yukara, and then you'll be on this server. Although I should probably change the map to be something that people have. But, yeah. Working with this engine, once you get like the gist of how Quake works and BitTech works, it's just so nice. You can do anything. Oh no! The crate mapping Discord. I don't know anyone there. Hope they're nice. I don't really use Discord anymore for other reasons, but I love everyone that loves Quake. Oh, that's awesome. And I don't know why stop sound isn't working on that platform. Spike, please fix. Yeah. But if you're wondering how I set up my stuff, I have basically my read-only folder, you know, that's in user shared games Quake. Yeah, got that. And then I've got a library folder, like on Next Step. And this is where I like put all my mods and custom maps and things that I don't intend to keep around for like, you know, forever. Although they tend to stick around anyway. What else can we show? There's so much, I guess. The post-processing stuff, we do some funny things with that occasionally. forgot Quake's still in here. I'll just keep Quake minimized. Got a question, how many people can be on a Sing FD server? Well, a couple of years ago when Quake's 25th anniversary, I think it was going on, we had a server with like almost 200 people running on FTE. Decino was hosting that. And so, from what he said on the stream when we were playing, is he tried every engine under the sun, and only FTE Quake World was able to really, you know, work with that many players. It is quite nuts. Let's see, do I have any? Oh yeah, another thing that's really cursed. Alright. Yeah, this is start.map. This is not start.bsp. This is start.map. The .map file that Romero released. Let me do something more cursed. Oh yeah, FTE Quake World is easy to recommend because it like supports a lot of stuff, and wow, I mean the performance goes really, really bad here, but that is the .map file rendering. Nothing pre-computed, all real time. This is running the ESP again. Here we go with the .map. This is really cool for level designers because they can literally just, you know, edit levels and just issue vid reload in the console and so on. So no, it doesn't compute anything. It just loads in the .map, and the real-time lighting is done, you know, how FTE does it with like other dynamic lights, and it just makes everything look like, yeah, this is a real level that's compiled and stuff. But yeah, it's not nothing. It doesn't pre-compute anything necessarily. No. Even some Quake 3 maps pre-compute more because now we actually pre-compute the collision for like displacements. Oh hey, Bleh. Like for the wastes. No, I don't want to do that now. For like Junkyard. When I did this map in the wastes. With Gethan. Well, he made it primarily, but I helped with the collision and stuff. Because the entire ground layer of the map is built with patches. That's like the curved surfaces that Quake 3 has. It's loading out off of my spare HDD, so it's pretty slow. But, yeah, all this is done with, like, patch masters. And they span quite crazy distances. And so we had to pre-compute their collision at map start so that the performance would be okay. Yeah. A bit bigger. Right, there's also just patch meshes here. It's not a model or brushes, it's just patches. That's how we did the texture blending too. That's all done in a shader, basically. Rectangle shader. And you still have access to the same, you know, stuff that I showed you. You can look at fields, you can poke around in them, stuff. The same, obviously. Let me recompile. Let's see. Should I do multiplayer? No, I'll do some single player stuff.
and welcome to the Black Mesa Hazard course, where you will be
But
trained
everything you
in
see,
use of
the
hazardous
menu,
environments.
the text messages on
I
the
am your
screen, the
holographic
render modes on the
assistant.
models,
Let's
it's all done in
begin by
QuakeC.
stepping into your
Everything is
suit.
abstracted
You can see it
for you,
suspended up
so
ahead of you.
the game
If you
developers
see
can
one of
focus on the
these buttons,
parts that matter.
press it, and I will appear to demonstrate.
Welcome
Oh yeah,
to the HEV Mark IV protective system.
here's my current
For
at rating
use
custom
in
setup.
hazardous environment conditions.
And if I like go into, let's say, user, share, games, Quake, it runs. I have all the .map sources here, and I can just double click them, and boom, there you go. Here's E1M8. And here is E3M4. So that's all set up.
If you see one of these buttons, I will appear to
Let's see.
if you see one, press it, and I will appear to demonstrate.
Let's see if I can do hazard course.
Moving around.
I'm not that mentally fit anymore,
Slightly disordered.
but I can still V-hop.
The first move we will practice in the hazard course.
Good work.
You
Those
will
two
have to
suits
get
can reach me. Please proceed to the next.
You will now duck under the next set of obstacles.
So you can show that this is Quake
You
C
will now duck under the next set of obstacles.
and Nuclide.
Crouching will automatically shift your
Very good. I hardly noticed you. On to the next area.
Now we will combine skills. You will need to jump, duck,
Good work.
jump again.
Oh. Hit the last
To
trigger.
get into these pipes, you will have to signal your suit to make a duck jump. You'll want to stand right at the mouth of the pipe and continue to press. Nice job.
Let's see if the level transition works. Yep.
Walk directly into the ladder, look up, and continue moving forward. The next 3 jumps get harder each time, but they are keep trying.
Damn it.
You'll get it. Don't be surprised.
How did I
if
mess
you
that
miss
up?
The last one a time or two.
Stage
You
fright.
can make all 3 in a continuous run. Great work. Now there's one more style of jumping you need to learn. Long jumping requires its own charging module.
Activate.
That's long jump.
Nice job.
Which here I changed it so you only have to hold down control and then you can press space whenever you want. Because I don't want it to cramp in my hand.
Please start the lift by moving.
Never really liked the way long jump is implemented
Now
in
that
Java,
you're up
not gonna
here,
lie.
there's only one way down. Find the target on the floor below and do your best to hit it. If you take any damage from the floor,
And this is how you fall down without losing health, by the
the
way.
next station. To
Just
restore
by
your
jumping
health,
onto that
walk up
thing.
to a med kit and press your use key. Your health will recover gradually until you are at full health or the kit is depleted. Once the light goes out, a med kit cannot be reused.
Let's see if the momentary button
To
works.
spin that bridge, walk up to the control
Yep.
wheel and press the
Sure
use
does.
key. Fantastic.
So nothing's broken
Sometimes you
yet.
need to rely on more
which is
than
good.
just your suit to get through a tight place.
Mainly testing the new FTE engine binaries.
If you can't
built
push
yesterday.
the obstacle out of your way, you might try pulling it. To pull a box, move up to it and press your use key.
Just
Finally, if nothing
need to fix this spawning under
you can
the
try raising
table.
in your path. Make sure you pick up the crowbar, then simply smash your way through the door.
And I think the distance for the crowbar is completely wrong.
Activate your
Way too
suit
short.
flashlight for the next area.
The axe is like 64 units
Great.
in Quake,
Remember your flashlight
and
drains
the
power,
crowbar is,
so
I
switch
think, a
it
bit
off when
less.
you don't need
I'm
it.
not sure. In the original game, I can't search pull juxes and AG helps off without going. Oh yeah, I don't know what it is that they
Welcome
do.
to the Black Mesa
I'm not even
where
proud
you
of
will
mine.
train
They're
to
kind of
fire your
hacky
weapons
because
while
they don't have like an
loading.
origin brush, these
Find the
pushables, so I can't like
Please
do
move
a
your weapons in
nice
advance to the fire. You'll have to
collision
hit the
detection
target in order
box,
to complete
so
the
I have
course.
to have like a helper entity that actually gets moved, and then the actual pushable
Try to
model
reload during
gets
pauses rather than waiting to
basically
run out of
relocated
ammunition at a critical time.
according to the
To fire
offset,
your grenade launcher,
which
use
is
your alternate fire
annoying.
Certain
and,
targets will
you
break
know,
only when hit by
You deal with
grenade.
other issues, but yeah.
Commencing sequence in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Let's see.
Your HEV suit monitors blood oxygen levels. Warning you will need to find and come up and catch your breath. You will see the blood oxygen indicator on.
Yeah.
This is the charging unit for your passenger confinement system. When you are running low on power, step up to any charger and press your use key. Your suit will recharge gradually until the if you pass through fire or steam, you will see a suit proximity to radiation. Activate the Geiger counter and radiation display. Biohazards are also indicated with a luminous icon.
Oh, the damage notification
Advance
icons.
to the next area.
I think I haven't tried every single damage type yet, but it should be fine. Let's see. We've made it to the last level, which means
Lead a security guard
everything
into
breaks
the
here.
next room. He will let you back into the transit system. You must approach the guard and press your use key. He will follow you until you face him and press the use key again.
Greetings.
Something moved. Okay, I'll secure this area.
Press your use key to engage the train. Press your use key to engage the train.
Do we
Press your
have?
forward and backward
Parking.
keys to press your use key to press your
Nope.
use key
It's
to
not gonna-
engage the train. Press your forward.
Not gonna trigger.
Press your use key to engage the train. Press your
Oh.
forward and backward keys to increase or decrease. Congratulations on completing the Black Mesa
Yay!
Hazard course. You are now fully certified
We did it.
for use of the HEV Mark IV protective system.
There we go. Now, while everyone else is watching, I can now do something else that's cursed. I wonder what this map is. Can't even lower this thing. Damn. Oh, you can. Ha. Yep. Maybe just freely resize this window. What a concept. Let's play with the Unreal preset. Yeah. I got that kernel dithering going on. The best type of texture filtering that a MMX capable CPU can do. Yeah, those post-processing presets are Those post-processing presets are part of Nuclide and FreeHL. Yeah, this is FTE here. I don't use regular Half-Life or anything. This is all FTE. This is how it would look by default. This is how it would look if you're playing an older GL card, basically. This is how it would look if you're like on a Voodoo 3DFX type setup. For like 16-bit rendering and scan lines and really low-res textures. And here's a fake software mode. FreeHL isn't based off of any FTE code, it uses FTE as its engine. So FTE handles the file formats, FTE handles the general networking, but I do most of it myself. From the menu stuff, like here's the whole one menu recoded. It's all just Quake C code. Here's the custom game menu. It's very C-like, for sure. But yeah, you've like standard functions like search begin, search fopen. Those are all FTE functions. All stuff FTE provides. Tokenized console, that's another built-in. But yeah, everything else is abstracted. Yeah, FreeHL is just platform unspecific Quake C code. It does, when I compile the file, it is one universal binary that works across everything. Like if I made a Spark 64 port of FTE Quake World, it will run FreeHL as is. You don't need to recompile anything specific to FreeHL or whatever. It also allows you to, like the server owners, if the server owners want to make something like a custom HUD, for example, I mean, sure, why not? Have a custom game server on Counter-Strike, for example, with a custom heads-up display. That client procs will actually get downloaded and checked to the clients. And that way, server owners have a lot more control. And when it comes to like entities, like implementing like a func wall or func door, I rewrote a lot of them, most of them. The server logic itself has, let's see how many? 97 elements of server-specific entities. And here we have roughly 25 that are shared between client and server, and a whole bunch of entities that are specific to just the client side. So if you go into, let's do game base, game valve. This might be a bit cursed, but let me load test UI. Yeah, this is the VGUI system that's used for the message of the day and all that stuff, but on an in-game surface. And yes, you can interact with it fully, like you could like a Doom 3 surface. And these are coded in, just like as is in Quake C. Literally, client, NS interactive surface. And here is where it defines it. Creates a test button onto a test window. And yeah, calls that function on the server. When I press that button, I get exploded. Yeah, and because it's FTE, you can tell it to load a variety of shaders, including like a water shader. That's pretty crap. Let me do build cube maps. and boom, we have cube mapped surfaces. Yeah, you have classes in Quixie. Let me show you a simple entity func button. Yeah, here's where I define the spawn flags, the frame on states. Here's a QuakeAdd comment, which my script here in Nuclide called build game. You basically just tell it which game you have to compile, and it compiles the Quixie code and an entities.def file, which Radiant and stuff can use. So you basically build your game logic, and it gives you a free FGD definition style file. And your level editor can just go in and start using the new entities you just developed. And here's the class head. Yeah. Public functions, overrides, and all that stuff. Fields. Here is where I do the save restore system for save games, you know, so people can save the games and all that stuff. Here's where the entity data gets interpreted from the map file. This is the code that's run after, like, all these functions are all documented. If you go on to, let me just, if you go online onto developer.veryversions.com, I document all of the classes in Nuclide. And like, you can then just go in and see documentation of all the methods that a developer has access to. If you're making a game on Nuclide, which is what FreeHL uses, you would then basically just need to go in and be like, oh yeah, I want to implement a head crab. Not baby crab, let's go bull chicken. Let's make an NS monster. And then you start overriding the things that you want to override. Like, this is the animation it uses as an idle animation. This is what the bull chicken uses as a walk animation. This is the one that uses as a run. This is the idle noise it makes. This is the stuff that happens when it receives pain. This is what happens when it dies. And he just precaches the models and sounds. And most of it is just handled. NS is for a Nuclide system. These are all the base system classes. So an NS monster is Nuclide system monster, and it's all that stuff. And a lot of them are defined here. This is just the header. It's pretty big for just a header, but I do try to document everything. And as a result of this, you've made your own game dev framework on top of a Quake engine. That's so cool. Thank you. Yeah, it's like been in the making for a long time. Originally, it was nice catching you. See ya, blame me. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I've been trying to build something like this for a while. I was part of another project in the past which tried to do this more or less, but it didn't ever work out, unfortunately. And now I have this thing that I built with like documentation and all that stuff. And yeah, the comments here show up here too. So any level designer can basically also just go use this. It's like, yeah, Trigger Auto, what's that about? There you go. Introduced in Half-Life. Notes, when a trigger auto is removed via TA use once, it won't survive match response. That's stuff that's good to know, and most documentation doesn't have that. FGD files don't have those sorts of comments either, which is something I always disliked about like how awful level design documentation is too, as a former level designer. But maybe people will adopt QuakeAdd comments again. That'd be nice. There isn't trivia? Yeah, sometimes it's pretty important even. Sometimes it tells you, oh, by the way, if you want to do this, don't use this, use that instead. And in the case, looks like you've nailed it. Well, thanks. I still wish this was so much better. Because the problem really is getting people into the zone, right? Like getting them to be like, oh yeah, how do I boot this up and stuff. And that's where it's like, yeah, well, this all makes perfect sense if you're like me and you use this sort of system. And then we have people like coming from Mac or Windows, and they don't know what any of the stuff is sometimes, which makes it like I have to explain Unix to them first, and then I have to explain to them why this is a shell script and not like a batch file or an exe file that does all the stuff for you. So that's been difficult at times, trying to figure out how do you communicate what this even is. It's basically, I mean, Nuclide is basically a development environment on top of FTE Quake World, which itself is a development environment more than anything. And Nuclide has its own API, its own documentation, its own rules, its own best practices, so to say. White Dog. Do you mean Admer? I know Admer from TWHL. If you're talking about Admer. TWHL, the whole Half-Life being that site, which was part of that community for a while. Never posted much because I never really released Half-Life maps, so to say, but how to make custom entity, then how to make custom entity file laser, trigger button, yes, Admer. Okay. Oh, it's bright. Cool. I'll say hi to Admer from me, because I have been around for a while, and I remember him from TWHL. And TWHL is a cool place with some really cool people. I met some really great friends on that site. Physics, nah. Slack, shaders, monitor, oh yeah. So besides surfaces that you can interact with, you can obviously do render targets. In this case, it's just an entity. That's another room. Pointing at this room. Usually this stuff would be cold, but as you can see, it does actually network what's in that other room over to me. And yeah, you can interact with it and have it pause rendering. So now it no longer animates or anything like that. To be fair, no idea the Quake community was still so lively, mostly played related stuff. Oh yeah. Okay, my relationship with the Quake community is odd. I'm not really active in like the usual circles. I'm rather old school. I still hang around inside QC.com. I hang around IRC, I hang around on Quadicted occasionally. I still read bluesnews.com, and everyone should read and support bluesnews.com. Love Blue. But like, I'm not part of like that new generation of Quake players. Never have really identified with like Quake1.com either, even like 15 years ago. That's because I like doing more interesting things, more tinkering things with Quake. I want to do things outside of Quake. I want to make Quake do things that Quake isn't known for. I'm not into regurgitating basically the same Quake gameplay formula and loop or maps. I know there's been in recent years maps coming out that are like really massive in scale and they have different gameplay elements and stuff. I have not checked out those yet. They probably have a lot of stuff in them, but same as with Half-Life. Half-Life also am not like a big Black Mesa mod fan. And when I talk about Black Mesa mods, it's mods that take place in and around Black Mesa and don't do much to the overall game. I am really picky. I know that, and I'm probably gonna stop here. Talking about it. Because it's just, yeah, it's just how it is. Quit playing Valve. Yeah, it's because of the way I load this in the development mode. Oops. if I, for example, loaded via my system-wide install of Half-Life. Oh yeah, ignore that. Ignore the Quake 3 intro. It'll actually read it from the lib list properly if you don't use it in development mode. And here I can go into hazard cores. And the window title will respect it as well and stuff. But like, yeah, in development mode it's a bit more janky. Which, by the way, actually I need to show that off. All my Half-Life content is again placed in user share games Half-Life. It's just the official files that Valve released on disk. Nothing fancy. You got the Pack 0, 1com, got all those AVI files in there. It's all here. And yeah, the reason I had the Quake 3 boot up is because I still had my Quake 3 install copied over into the Valve directory. So I can do cursed things like this. Oh, that's weird. I've never seen that before. But no, I love Quake. But I'm just not active in these circles because I like to work on interesting stuff that like does weird things. Let me enable cheats so I can flip around. Oh yeah. And hey, Tabby Jackie, what's happening? Need to fix a bug with that. Decal not spawning on guns. But yeah, this is very cursed. Last time I was listening with this, the round timers weren't working. What was it, a mess of mind, or they not implemented? Oh no, the round timers in Counter-Strike, you mean? They should all work. Let's see. Let me switch gears to Counter-Strike. Play CS, play on LAN, create. Ooh. These are the maps I test with. It's a nightmare. Let's go into a map we all know and love. Let's go into... Let's do a DE map because people don't like hostage rescue apparently. Survivor, Train, Vegas. Yeah, let's just do Train. I'm very interested in your gold engine. Well, that's awesome. I'm not making an engine per se, but a framework on top of an existing engine. It's all very early still. It's not user-friendly, but I hope you all stick around. Okay. Love that big build button of yours. You made an Objective-C? Haha, yeah. Let me just resize this into a comically small window. Yeah, this is my text editor. It's called Blueprint. You can switch between syntax highlighting here. It does support a whole bunch of formats, including Quake config files. So if you go open up, let's see, do we have a config file here? No. Let me go over here, library, games, new client, Valve. If I open game CFG, which, oh, corrupted, interesting. Yeah, it doesn't want to load these for some reason. That's odd. Do it. One config auto exec. There we go. Yeah, Quake configs have syntax highlighting in this. So do material files from Quake 3 and FTE Quake World. They all have syntax highlighting. And here's the info panel. So yeah. I have flashbacks of my Doom engine Black Book with what? Oh yes. Oh yes. Let's talk about Doom Ed, I guess. Project, open, library, games. Is it Doom 2? No, it's Doom. Maps. Doom Maps SE, project. There we go. Let's look at E1M1. I mean, who doesn't want to have DoomEd installed on their computer? Yeah, let's zoom all the way out. There you go. Now, let's print that out, I guess. I don't know if this will work or not. My printer may not be on. Yeah, I don't think my printer is on. But it does actually send it to my network printer. I actually have that set up via Cups. Cups is great. I love Cups. But yeah, this is my editor blueprint. It's only used by 2 people. And it's pretty fast. Like, this is the FTE extensions file. It's pretty big, but look at how fast it loads. And boom, it's here. And it's full of syntax highlighting. Like, crazy syntax highlighting. It's so crazy, I don't even support it properly. 3,842 lines and so much syntax highlighting, and it loads up in like 2 seconds. In Visual Studio Code, it probably would take a lot longer than that. Which is a testament to how fast Objective-C software can be if written right, I guess. Because a lot of it is obviously runtime based, from what I'm understanding here. So, yeah, I myself just do some very surface level Objective-C stuff. I've not been coding it for that long in my life. I've been coding Quake-C a lot longer. VS Code would have died and I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I actually have problems with RAM usage. Like, I have 16 gigs of memory, but man, everything eats so much. Oh yeah, exactly. The messaging is at runtime. Exactly. But like, that's how obviously you communicate between all the objects, including the syntax highlighter. So it's amazing that it works as fast as it does. There is a guy in the GNU Step community called Deke, and he put it in a really good way. In Objective-C, you have to imagine every object as like its own server, and it's talking to other servers. That's the sort of impact that messaging has in a system like this. And now let's see if the round timer is still worked. I'll actually speed up the timer a little bit. 5, yeah, this will be good. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Counter swim. And the round restarts. Is your blueprint editor open source? Technically, yes. But only if you have access to our version control system. So not really, but while I would love to share all this, I am really scared of getting swamped with inquiries about this stuff. Oh, thank you. I built a lot of this myself. So obviously the workspace is a modified version of G Workspace for GNU Step. I've got some local apps here I use. Here's implementations of the next apps, from the terminal to print manager, preview, the digital librarian, which isn't complete. That's what it looks like. Yeah. I can look in like GSN base for Funkwall, and it actually gives me results. This is a salvaged application that somebody run in like 1998, which I fixed up, and I haven't really spent much more time on it. Oh, a thing from Serial Experiments saying yes, nxwired.app. But like, yeah, same thing with the Preferences app. This is based off of a lot of my own stuff, but I can just like go here and be like, ooh, look, I can in real time change my desktop background. Ooh, so nice. Or just pick a color, or, you know, whatever. And some stuff is pretty neat and complete, like, oh yeah, let's go to an analog clock up here. Ooh, let's use Swatch Internet Time. For all those that play Phantasy Star Online every day still. And obviously there's my mail client. It's true, she uses a similar system. Oh yeah. No, Lane uses like a mixture of Next and BOS. There's like all sorts of .apps there. It's really great. Here's my mail client, which is based off of, you know, GNU Mail. Here's some very impersonal mail. Don't want to dox anyone, but here you've got faces, mail faces, all my addresses have faces applied to them. Yeah. Let's see what else. I showed that web browser. I do have a screenshot taking app, which is pretty simple. Oh yeah, this little tool. If I double click it, it just mutes whatever I'm saying. Is there any form of Func vehicle nuclide? Oh yes. No, we have Func vehicle. Of course, there's a whole video on it, I thought. Big City 2. Ooh, some prediction misses going on here, but yeah, let me show you by driving up here. Oh damn. This one's a bit janky, but Big City wanted much better working entities for this. All that proved Objective-C was already in the right. I think we really took a big step backward. Yeah, I agree with you on that to some degree, for sure. Because it's like, we had this really good, and yeah, something's definitely weird with the Func vehicles. I have a much better video on my YouTube channel. I need to look into that. Made it just a few months ago. On me using Func vehicles. Something must have regressed. But yeah, no, Objective-C, and especially the OpenStep stuff, which later became Cocoa, has just really good foundational things in there. Like, if you want to parse text, if you want to process, like, modern things like JSON, they've got really good APIs there. They've got so much stuff that it just... It's really well designed. It's very verbose, I agree, but that's a good thing, because often things are just not descriptive enough. What other map formats does this support? You can load a whole bunch of things, including, if you compile the engine yourself, you can actually load Doom levels, like from WAD files, which is crazy. But support for all sorts of formats is documented, more or less. Let me see, where's both depths? Robust is a good thing in terms of code. Yeah. So let's see where the formats are lumped in. They might not be just listed here, but I know in my config for the way, so I made it a bit cleaner. Yeah, so we obviously have Quake 1 maps, we have Quake 2 maps, we have RF BSBs, which include things like Soldier of Fortune levels and things like that, Warsaw levels, Jedi Knight 2 and Jedi Outcast stuff. We have all these DSP models, not sure what that was. MD1 for Quake 1, Quake 2, Quake 3 models, Doom 3 models. I'm not sure what Zymotic models were. DPM, that's the Dark Places model format. PSK, that's the Unreal Engine skeletal model format. That's like Unreal 1 and 2 stuff, I'm pretty sure. I don't know that you can load Doom levels. I think those are new features in some sonars. the Doom level support has been in the engine for a while. It's just it was never really mature, mainly because there's nothing really to go along with it. You would have to effectively make game logic that tried to make sense of what it is that you're doing, because obviously it has no concept of Doom monsters or anything like that. You have attempted to write a game from zero using only Objective-C? No, I have not. In fact, my Objective-C experience is rather limited to working with like the Next Step environment, things like the Project Center, later, Xcode, and all that stuff. I haven't written anything from scratch necessarily. It's just because the whole idea of me actually using GNU-Step came from more of a necessity than anything. Like, I was interested in Next Step, but like when GNU-Step was, when I was made aware of it and I checked it out many years ago, it's like, okay, this is kind of janky, this is kind of buggy. And then a few years later, I realized that, well, maybe it's just the front-facing apps that are buggy and GNU-Step itself isn't. And then I just started fixing bugs for myself. And it's like, there's so many things I really love about this whole environment. Like if I, like this is just a window, this is just a viewer. I can minimize it, right? I can close these permanently if I wanted to. But like, if I wanted another workspace of sorts, I can just make a new viewer. And I'm like, okay, let me just focus entirely around, Quake 1 stuff or Half-Life stuff. I'll just go in here, open this one, change the view mode to the one I love the most. Let's add some bookmarks. Let me add a bookmark for TSE. Let me add a bookmark for, track 2 and stuff. And when I keep this around, it'll always be there. When I close this workspace, if I log off, this will always be there until I close it. And it's really nice because I can just kind of put my workflow in like one window and minimize it and then bring it back up. I wanted to try Window Maker a couple weeks ago, but couldn't make it work properly. One day I'll go around and start probably with GNU, etc. Tabijaki, you could take the current Half-Life 1 entities to spawn over on top of whatever spawns in Doom levels, or maybe auto-create triggers when certain line defs exist, like doors and teleporters. Yeah, but that does still require the knowledge of what game is it that they're trying to play, because FTE Quake World is mainly a Quake 1 engine. It would probably default to Quake 1 enemies, you could argue, right? But what if somebody wants to play it with a Quake mod, Your Path of Destruction, which actually implements the Doom monsters, and then the engine would have to detect that, and then the engine starts implementing kind of game logic behavior into itself to deal with that sort of thing. So I think what really needs to be done is just a better way of getting people to actually use the levels, something that's more consistent and in line with like Quake 1 levels and stuff. There needs to be proper entity data, I think. I think it was just like really Spike just messing around when he implemented that feature. It's like when, I mean, FTE Quake World also supports loading things like World of Warcraft levels. Don't ask me why. It does, because Spike used to play World of Warcraft, and so you can just load World of Warcraft levels in it. Well, for better or worse, I guess. Yeah, you can just like load it up and walk around in the capital city or whatever it is. It's been a while since I've touched WoW. I don't remember anything. I'll load it. Oh yeah. Good to see that hasn't regressed yet. This is the physically based rendering stuff in Nuclide. I've shown that off before. But now, non-PBR stuff shows up properly. And so they work really nice together. The player shadow still conflicts with the flashlight, which I need to fix. Let's see. Maybe some sort of quick reading. Sorry. Check. Stop talking. There could be like a text file that maybe matches the object IDs to some class name, perhaps. I'll ask Spike about it if he wants to, you know, discuss this with me, or if he just says, nah, forget it, this was a stupid idea. Because it's been many years since he's worked on it. Does FTE use 64-bit floats or 64-bit ins? For like the coordinates? It should use... It should use 64-bit floats. Like, for a lot of things. For the game logic, we're still limited to 32. But like, in theory, over the network, we can do 64-bit coordinates. Yeah, I think that may be handled separately. But like in the game logic, you can't like define a 64-bit type. That's unfortunately, due to compatibility reasons, not something that we do. Dark Places does, but Dark Places does not respect compatibility necessarily with like old school Quake mods and stuff. They do their own thing, which is fine. It's just DP is the only engine I know of with a 64-bit Quake CVM. Yeah. Another thing I did, by the way, because I haven't implemented the Quake monsters, obviously, but I haven't ripped out any Half-Life specific stuff from Deathmatch Classic. So if I just do this.
For God's sake, open the silo door! They're coming for us! It's our only way out! Oh my God, we're doomed!
Ha ha ha.
Here's have a unique parasitic strategy.
Oh yeah, it's a speaker.
All science personnel report topside for immediate questioning.
Scientist.
I need to fix these monsters for real. Let me see if the bots work any better. I think DM4 had white points. Oh yeah. yeah, all seems to work pretty well for just a couple days of work. Alright. Phew. So, yeah. I don't know how long I've been streaming, but... Wow, it's been over an hour. Alright. No, it's really cool. Only did this because somebody here was, I think you, Arcor? You asked me if I wanted to stream, and here we are. Sorry if you said before, how complete is Rage in your opinion? Like what like someone to play full game? Well, currently the focus was purely multiplayer oriented. Yeah. So single player stuff, it's just like starting. There's a lot of entities that, you know, just don't work. Things like the track trains in the beginning of the game, like if you go to C0A0, that stuff will like...
Good morning and welcome to...
Like, while the train will work for some time, things will not traverse right through level changes. There's AI that's unfinished. None of the monsters, like Barney and the H-Grunt are okay, the scientist is okay, but like the other enemies really aren't. I need to spend a lot of time on making sure the AI foundation is really good, because if I spend any significant amount of time into the NPC specific code, like let's say I want to implement the head crabs actually like launching themselves at you in a really nice way, I'll probably do that, and then fast forward like a year later, I will have implemented so many helper functions into the AI foundation that I could probably cut the code in more than half, right? So I try to avoid code duplication. I try to avoid those sorts of things at all costs because it makes maintaining things a bitch. So I want to minimize the code. I want to minimize my overall time spent within the game specific parts, so that people can literally just go in and be like, oh yeah, this is an H-Grunt. This is the sort of behavior he does. This is oh yeah. And yeah, see, like this transition is complete garbage. So, but if you go to C1A0, you can go through the entire resonance cascade up until like Office Complex and like all that stuff. VHL feels like the best moddable engine that I would get into. I don't know how well such good I would be doing that, but the whole system has convinced me to actually maybe look into it. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it is. It's like so hard. Every day I work a little, even if it's not like coding, but like in my head, I often just try to deconstruct these issues and how to tackle them and make it really user friendly. There's a lot of features in this that are not just like, oh, this is just this, but from source, right? Like, because you can use source engine entities in this. You can boot Half-Life 2 maps in this. They are supported to a large extent. The problem really comes from, it's not 100% complete. I have a lot of work to do. I need a lot of time to do this. I need support and need some sort of, you know, motivation, obviously, to keep me going too. My motivation is entirely preservation based. These games have been there for most of my life. I played Quake in the 90s when I was still very little and I was not supposed to play it, but it was so incredible. It was the first 3D game I've ever seen. These worlds, these levels that people made for games like Half-Life and Counter-Strike and the Specialists RP, and then later Gary's Mod and HL2 Deathmatch. All these games, I want to make sure that these levels are preserved. And if I wanted to boot up Half-Life or whatever, or Gary's Mod, I will be able to do it, and I'll play on whatever fucking maps I want. Sorry for my French, but I want to do that. Valve had an amazing idea with Half-Life Source. Make it so that gold source games get updated to the source engine. Did they do it the right way? They did not, unfortunately. It didn't work out. But I dream of us being able to preserve these maps, these worlds that we spent hours and hours and hours, hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours of our lives we spent in those maps and worlds and mods, and they will be lost. And I don't want that, which is why I load up, you know, Quake 3 maps and Half-Life. I'm like, look, we can do this now. We can do all this, and I load up Gary's mod maps, and I load up Counter-Strike, and you can just do this. And nothing can stop you from doing it, because it's all done the right way. Making some videos could help you build a cult following on your work and help you be motivated. Maybe I'm so scared of old games and software rotting. That's why I try using open source stuff. Download source if I can. Keep archives copies. Yeah, we do a lot of archiving here. We have massive archives. Like this is a private computer system. I can't show too much, but we have a lot of archives, including stuff that's like, you know, like the Valve archive that's like 100 gigs. We have the V-Files archive, which some people consider lost, which has, I don't know how many terabytes on here, but there's a lot of files that we have. Luckily. There's very little in this, it's fucking funny. But yeah, we have a large archive of things. Here's where all my packages are. Ooh. All my Slackware packages. Yeah, no, we've been building that for a number of years now. Because one day everything's gonna go away, right? Or the EMP is gonna drop on us or something. And we're gonna make sure we have backups. So there's drives in a Faraday cage somewhere. I know there's one in Arizona where some of the stuff we have is. But yeah. I don't want to lose any of this. Yeah, like I'm not a doomer type person or gloomy, but I have lost a lot of data in the past. Actually, thanks to Valve. In 2013, there was a Steam client beta update that wiped my entire home directory. And I will never forget that. So I've made sure to make backups. A lot. Yeah. I lost some really important stuff. It's really tough when you lose stuff. Did not about Half-Life 2. Have you considered making a good archive of everything you've done? I have a good amount of that. Like, pretty much everything I'd start working on, I like immediately touch. Let's see if I can swap games. Yeah. I don't use Git to back up anything necessarily, just work that I do. And I don't do much outside of work. So that's hard to say. Some Half-Life 2 maps. Yeah, the terrain shader I'm really happy with. It's mostly correct now. Let me see. What's a map? That would be interesting to see. B2 town. B town. But here you can see it's actually trying to find all the descriptions that are referenced in surface properties.txt, which is another file I gotta show off because it's really cool. Oh yeah, this is the underground area just when you're done with Ravenholm, I'm pretty sure.
HEV Mark IV protective system for use in hazardous environmental conditions.
Yeah. It doesn't know how to deal with the decals because the map format is neither Half-Life or Quake 3 or whatever. So it doesn't really know what to do here, but load OBD. I have to restart the map. D1 tone. Let me just go to the previous one. Oh yeah, most of the errors is just stuff on the nuclide end where it doesn't find the sound definitions and all that nonsense that I don't respect right now. I have my own sound definition format, which is more like Q3s, and I try to work on that most of the time, but I'll add in a compatibility layer to deal with the source engine sound definitions. There we go. And crash. There you go. That's how you break it, by shooting a barrel for the physics on it. 6-Seg B. Logs, load HL2, SV cheats. Let's go to Preno. What's the canals map? I think it's just canals. Let me go to 08. I'm not that well versed with Half-Life 2 levels. I never spent a lot of time modding it. If I did any modding back then, it was strictly exclusive to like maps and models. I didn't know any programming when these games first came out.
To the HEV
Oh yeah, the
Mark
fog is
IV
quite
protective
strong here.
system for use in hazardous environmental
off.
conditions.
Oh yeah. Alright, let me slow-mo over there. Oh yeah, I'll definitely keep it up if you want me to. I don't think this was anything sensitive on this stream. What other thing can I even show off related to Nuclide? Wrong folder. Yeah. There's so much more I could show off. There's just always so much. From the things I'm currently testing to, you know, just all sorts of things. I'm glad you could all join me. Whoever chimed in and whoever's watching in the future, greetings to you. Today was actually a really nice day for me. Usually deal with a bit of social anxiety. But, thank you, Aircore. I'll make sure to do this again sometime. And if you have any issues, join us on IRC. FTE has a quakenet.org channel, but also we have the frag-net.com IRC server where me hang out. Spike's there, Xyleman is there. All the people that know everything about this stuff are there. That's awesome. Well, Keep it all up, everyone. The good vibes. And I'll stream maybe this weekend or something. We'll figure something out. And until then, peace. And so on.